After 3 long years working in a foreign land, Adeze finally returned home, ready to surprise the husband she sacrificed everything for. But the moment she stepped into her compound, something felt wrong. These were not her clothes, and her heart suddenly began to race. Then she heard it, a woman laughing inside her home, the home she built with 3 years of sweat and sacrifice. What she saw next shattered her world. Her husband, standing with the one person she trusted most, her best friend, into jealousy. And Adeze's life would never be the same again.
The first light of dawn stretched slowly across the red earth road that led into the quiet village of Umwago. Roosters crowed loudly from different compounds, announcing the arrival of a new day. Women swept their yards with long palm brooms, creating soft rhythmic sounds that blended with distant laughter and the crackling of firewood from early morning cooking. A small dusty bus pulled to a stop near the entrance of the village. Inside the bus sat Adis Okafor, a woman of 32 whose tired but determined eyes carried the weight of many sleepless nights. Her hands held tightly to the handle of her small brown suitcase, the same suitcase she had carried when she left the village 3 years ago. 3 long years. 3 years of living in a foreign land. 3 years of sacrifice. 3 years of dreaming about this exact moment. The bus conductor shouted, "Last stop. Umwago." Adi slowly stood up. Her heart was beating faster with every second. "I'm finally home," she thought. As she stepped down from the bus, the familiar smell of earth after morning dew filled her lungs. It was a smell she had missed deeply during her years working abroad in Dubai. Dubai had been bright and beautiful, but it was never home. Home was here. Home was the small clay house she shared with her husband. Home was the mango tree in their compound. Home was the man she loved. Chaik. Adi smiled to herself as she imagined his surprised face when he saw her standing at the door. She had planned everything carefully. She did not tell anyone she was coming back early. Her contract abroad still had 2 months left, but she saved enough money and decided to surprise her husband. He will be so happy, she thought. She adjusted the strap of her handbag and began walking along the narrow path leading toward her compound. As she walked, memories began flooding her mind. 3 years earlier, the day she left the village, the entire compound had been full of people wishing her well. Her husband Chaik had hugged her tightly near the bus station. "I will miss you every day," he had whispered. Adis had wiped his tears. "This sacrifice is for our future," she told him gently. "I will build us a better life. Just be patient with me." Chaik nodded. "I promise I will wait for you." Standing beside them that day was Adis' closest friend in the entire village, Ngozi. Ngozi had been Adis' best friend since childhood. They went to the same primary school, fetched water together from the same stream, and shared countless secrets under the moonlight as young girls. Ngozi had held Adis' hand and smiled warmly. "Don't worry about anything here," Ngozi said. "I will help take care of your home while you are away." Adis hugged her tightly. "Thank you. I trust you more than anyone." Now, 3 years later, Adis was finally back. But something felt strange as she approached her compound. From a distance she noticed clothes hanging on the drying line outside the house. But they were not her clothes. They were bright colorful wrappers and blouses she had never seen before. Adis slowed her steps. A small wave of confusion passed through her mind. Maybe Chaik has visitors, she thought. She continued walking slowly until she reached the wooden gate of the compound. The gate creaked slightly as she pushed it open. The compound looked almost the same. The mango tree still stood tall in the corner. The old wooden bench where she and Chaik used to sit every evening was still there. But something about the air felt different. Quiet. Uncomfortable. Adis rolled her suitcase across the ground and walked toward the front door. Then she heard something. Laughter. A woman's laughter. Adis stopped immediately. Her heart began beating faster. She moved closer to the door quietly. The door was slightly open. Inside the house she heard voices. One voice belonged to a woman. The other voice. Her heart froze. The other voice was Chike's. Adis slowly pushed the door open. What she saw inside shattered her world completely. Standing in the middle of the living room was Chike. And beside him was Ngozi. Ngozi was wearing one of Adis' old wrappers. Her hair was wrapped comfortably like a woman who lived in the house. Chike's arm rested casually around her waist. For a moment, time stopped. Adis could not breathe. Her suitcase slipped from her hand and hit the floor loudly. The sound made both of them turn. Chike's eyes widened in shock. Adis. Ngozi froze. Her face turned pale. Adis stood at the doorway like a statue. Her eyes moved slowly from Chike to Ngozi, then back to Chike again. The pain inside her chest felt unbearable. Her voice finally came out as a whisper. Chike. Neither of them moved. Neither of them spoke. Adis' voice began to shake. Ngozi. Ngozi stepped away from Chike immediately. Adis, listen. But Adis suddenly laughed. A painful, broken laugh. Listen, she repeated slowly. Her eyes filled with tears. I worked for 3 years in another country. I sent money every month. I trusted both of you with my home. Her voice cracked. And this is what I returned to. Chike ran his hand through his hair nervously. Adis, please, let me explain. Adis raised her hand sharply. Don't. The room fell silent. Her thoughts raced wildly. Every memory from the past 3 years replayed in her mind. Late-night phone calls with Chike. Voice notes she sent when she missed him. The gift she sent for Ngozi as appreciation for helping her husband. Every sacrifice suddenly felt like betrayal. Ngozi took a small step forward. I wanted to tell you, she said quietly. Adis turned to her slowly. When, she asked. When you finished destroying my life? Ngozi looked down. Chike sighed deeply. It started 1 year after you left, he admitted. Adis' eyes widened. 1 year. So for 2 years. Both of you lived here like husband and wife? The silence in the room answered her question. Adis wiped her tears slowly. Something inside her began to change. The woman who had entered the compound full of love and excitement was gone. In her place stood someone stronger. Calmer. More controlled. She picked up her suitcase and walked inside the house slowly. Chike and Ngozi moved aside. Adis looked around carefully. Her furniture. Her pictures. Her home. But it no longer felt like hers. She turned to face them. You thought I would never return, didn't you? Chike said nothing. Ngozi swallowed nervously. Adis, please forgive us. Adis stared at her. My grandmother used to say something in our village, she said calmly. In African stories, betrayal burns like fire. She opened her handbag and pulled out a document. Chike frowned. What is that? Adis placed it on the table. This land, she said slowly. This house. They are in my name. Chaik's eyes widened. Yes, Addis continued. I bought the land before traveling. I built this house with my money. She pointed toward the door. So now both of you will leave my house. Ngozi gasped. Chaik stepped forward desperately. Addis, please, we can fix this. Addis looked at him with cold eyes. You broke it. Then she turned to Ngozi. And you helped him break it. Her voice softened slightly but remained firm. Friendship is sacred in our culture. But you chose jealousy. Neither of them could respond. Slowly they began gathering their belongings. Within an hour they walked out of the compound carrying their bags. Addis stood at the doorway watching them leave. Her heart still hurt deeply. But beneath the pain was something stronger. Freedom. That evening Addis sat under the mango tree in her compound. The village slowly became quiet as the sun disappeared behind the hills. Children's laughter faded. Cooking fires glowed in the distance. Addis looked up at the night sky filled with stars. A gentle breeze moved through the leaves above her. She took a deep breath. Some betrayals break your heart, she whispered softly. But some betrayals reveal your strength. And in that quiet African village, Addis began a new chapter of her life. Not as a betrayed wife, but as a woman who reclaimed her home, her dignity, and her destiny. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this storytelling content, do well to like, share and subscribe.